Awesome. Welcome back, everyone. Here today with my man Sasha Win, talking crypto. And it's so ironic because I was out actually about 2 nights ago at Old Man's. We're here in Bali, Indonesia, and the guy that introduced me to crypto that was from the Philippines was here in Bali, that we ran into each other just randomly, that I met in like 2017, like in like January. And I just ran into him randomly. I'm like, oh man, reconnecting. And then it's cool to meet you too, because you've got a company and you do coaching in that industry. So I'm like, this is kind of like a full circle, because Alex was my first podcast interview talking about crypto, and here we are full circle 2 years later on my next trip. So man, it's been a wild ride, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So feel free to share your story, your background.
Thanks for having me, Quinton.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate your energy and the amount of content you put out with your podcast.
Thanks, man.
My story is I'm actually a licensed dentist, so I worked as a dentist for a couple of years, also as a surgeon. But health issues came along with that job, so I was looking for some passive income. I read a lot of books, but nothing really struck me. And then Bitcoin came along in 2017. It hit like 3,000, and I thought that this is ridiculous, right? It went up from 700 to 3,000 in 6 months. Looked up the technology, was excited about the technology, saw the possibilities. There are many issues which can be solved with blockchain. And with the financial possibilities also, and I thought this is amazing. I want to go all in, so that's what I did. I went all in on crypto, got into all this ICO craziness which happened in 2017. So that was really amazing.
Yeah.
Then in beginning of 2018, said I'm going to do this professionally. This is exactly what I want to do. Started my company, did more ICO research, found out that there's this whole market and the whole industry of ICOs are really crooked. There are not many good players out there.
Yeah.
Then I started advisory service for some ICOs, which I found really good, and I wanted to help them in this market, because many of those companies had amazing ideas, but they lacked the insight, which I gained of 6 months just being 10-12 hours a day in front of the computer and just chatting with people and just being in the space. And that enabled me to travel to a lot of conferences. I went to South Korea also, the Seoul. That was the big conference, my big breakthrough. After Seoul, South Korea, I met amazing people, got into some really good groups and syndicates, and went further to Thailand, to India, Singapore, many other countries, Barcelona, London, Berlin.
This is all in like the last year.
That was 2018. So
Wow.
2018 was all about business developing for ICOs, for blockchain companies, also one KYC company. But then the whole market died out, and we decided those companies they're not listening well. They don't see that the market is deteriorating. They need to shift. So we shifted also away from it. And now we are in the education space. We are also having a YouTube channel. We're having a podcast where we educate people about the whole crypto space. We consult, we advise, we trade ourselves, and that's where we are right now. Like we're spending every day on crypto. I'm producing a video almost every day about crypto.
Nice.
And that's what I love.
Yeah, that's huge, man. So you went from being a dentist and a surgeon to going all in into crypto.
Absolutely.
So that's probably what I assume has been quite the wild ride of massive highs and some surprising lows, right? So can I ask, when the peak hit, when Bitcoin hit 20,000, were you selling at the time? Were you looking to kind of get out, or you got positioned in pretty early, it seems like, so you probably weren't affected by the big dip? But just kind of, whenever I meet somebody, I'm like always, when did you buy in? Have you sold? What's your plan?
Right. So in 2017, I had no trading experience in that point, because I was studying medicine the whole time and working on patients. So I felt there's no need for me to go into forex trading or any other trading in that terms. Also, if you read Warren Buffett, and if you read The Intelligent Investor, which everybody encouraged to read this book or listen to this book as an audiobook, there's only one way to invest for average person, and is just the dollar cost average into something you really believe or really understand, which would be index funds. So of course that's why you don't spend your afternoon trading some little thing. But then with Bitcoin, there's such a high potential, so I bought it on $3,000 US, and went on into a lot of ICOs. And but with all, like a friend of mine told me, we all drank the Kool-Aid in 2017.
Yeah, we were just guzzling that Kool-Aid.
I mean, if you see 50x returns and 60x returns, which I had on some ICOs, you just you feel like it's going
forever.
to end, it's going forever, and it's the whole technology is just the beginning. Because if you look at the market cap, it's such a low market cap.
Yeah, I know.
But of course, it needs to grow organically. So it went from $700 in January 2017. It went up to $20,000, and people were predicting it to 50,000. So of course, you're following people with more experience, like Mike Novogratz, for example, and those guys who made millions and millions of dollars their whole lives. And you believe that Bitcoin will go to 50K. So that was the belief back then in 2017. We will go to 50K, and we will correct the 20K. Will correct to probably, let's say, 15K. So it corrected to 10K, and everybody thought, okay, don't worry, we'll bounce off of 10K.
Yeah.
It bounced off once from 12K, and then it dipped. It went up to 15K, and then it went down to 6K.
Yeah.
And then when it broke through 10K in January,
it just plummeted.
And January 7th, I think, and then it plummeted. Just everybody knew, damn it, this is not substantial. We will hit the major correction, and at that moment with 10K, I sold a lot of positions. I didn't sell all of my positions. I was still believing in some of the altcoins I was holding and some of those ICOs. But now with all the experience I'm having, with all those conferences I went, with all the people I talked, with all the marketing agencies I talked, I was on the blockchain cruise from Barcelona to Monaco.
I had a friend on there,
Yeah, and you just saw so many scam companies just spending their money. They scam from other people and just they blatantly talked about what they were doing. And those companies had no revenue model at all. So all this year I educated myself more about all this how businesses should be run, and all this crypto space. What's the big flaws in it? So like I said, what are the highs? Like 2017 until 10th of January 2018 was an absolute massive high. It was ridiculous. And 2018 was just a huge low and a huge realization of what was happening, and the big players just took advantage of our non-knowledge. And like I said, you have to go in at a certain amount where nobody wants to go in. So this is actually right now, or the next 5 months. Nobody's talking about crypto, and that's actually the moment where you should educate yourself and maybe get in with a dollar cost average, like Warren Buffett said, and just get a little position where you feel comfortable of losing. And then when something like in 2017 happens, when the taxi driver is telling you about Bitcoin, that's the moment where you should get out and just let it go and wait for the next
man.
correction.
I look back and I found crypto when Ethereum was $14 and Bitcoin was $900, and I was like, this makes sense. I actually was structuring to buy land in the Philippines through Bitcoin because I was trying. That's how I heard about it, because I was trying to send money from Canada to the Philippines to buy this land that I wanted to buy. And then this guy Alex that I met in the Philippines, he's a big crypto guy, and he's like, why don't you just send it through Bitcoin? And I'm like, I want to take you for dinner and tell me everything you know about this. So that's how I got involved. So luckily I got in quite early, and I went pretty heavily in. And I talk about this in my book. Like, I put about $20,000 in, and then I saw it keep going up, and I put another $10,000 in, and like that $30,000 peaked at about $250,000, which was insane. You know, like just like within like literally like 8 months.
Right.
But I was thinking the same thing. Like, this is going to 50,000. I'm going to be $1 million. You know, like it's going to be $1 million portfolio. So I didn't sell anything, and I was in Australia last year exactly at this time. And I just remember seeing it just go boom. This is like February, or I was in Australia in January last year, and I remember like looking at my Blockfolio, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And I haven't sold anything. I haven't sold anything. I'm just still holding everything, and it's been a wild ride of just like some euphoria and just some like, what the fuck?
Yeah, absolutely.
So hindsight, what's that saying? Everything is, you have 100% hindsight when you look back at something. Like, I wish that I was more, I guess, plugged in. Not that I wasn't plugged in. I was like a crackhead. Like, I was like doing day trading with altcoins. I was doing ICOs. I was just like every day in my accounts. Everyone, I was like a fiend. Like checking. Like, remember when John McAfee was doing his tweets, and then whatever he pumped would spike? Like, I was literally waiting for him to tweak, and I had notifications on my phone that as soon as he sent out a tweet, I go and I buy whatever he
I
pumps.
want to
nuts.
point out something here, right? So John McAfee, amazing guy. We have an interview with him. We met him a couple of times. Also went drinking with him. So
Oh, that'd been wild.
this guy is special. But you pointed out a really good point. Like his tweets went bananas, right? So you had an alarm set up to go on Binance and then buy this coin, but at that moment it's already too late. So what big massive in the crypto space is bot trading. So those programmers, those I don't know, Russians mostly, they had bots programmed. As soon as John McAfee tweeted something, they analyzed the tweet, they saw a Bitcoin, and boom, they bought it on Binance in a second, right? This didn't take a couple of seconds, and the coin already pumped. I guess I remember one tweet of him. It was a minute old. I was on Binance at that moment, and it already pumped 10%. Right?
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. So that's why what we try to educate people on our channel, that there's so much bot trading out there. You really need to be careful of all those altcoin crazy pump gains. You can have like a 100% return in 1 hour. And just to understand psychology of the market and of trading, and to get rid of the FOMO. Like for me personally, I have huge FOMO. So that's what happened with me in 2017. I couldn't sleep. I was just constantly on there. Why didn't I catch that coin? Yeah. And now with all the knowledge I'm having, I just realized I can calm down way more, and that's what I'm trying to teach everybody on our channel, just to stay calm in this whole huge market.
Slow and steady wins the race.
And be good with it, and go to sleep without freaking out because of some coin.
I wouldn't. I would be up. Like I remember, I would be up until like 3-4 in the morning because it's South Korea time, waiting to get into an ICO. You know what I mean? Like just like waiting to send my Ethereum, just like a crackhead. I was literally a crypto crackhead. That'd be a good URL name. So what are some of the altcoins you do like outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum? Like what do you got your eye on?
So at the moment there are a couple of good ones, which is like me personally, I like Pundi X because we're also here in Indonesia. We're here in Bali, so they are registered in Jakarta. They do regular events here in Bali. They're presented the blockchain forum here. So they're a hard-working company. They are doing point of sale devices, but you also have to realize like they are a hard-working company, but they don't have the huge backing of those point of sale companies which like Circle, which have hundreds of thousands of customers and merchants already. So they are against those guys. So I really are passionate about the whole community of them, but I'm a little concerned that they can really push through and come through. And companies who are at the moment are still killing it are the older ones, right? The ones who are they're all out there for longer, who are really trying to push. The only one, I mean, it's bad to do predictions because of the company, because what you have to realize, all those companies are all still startups. I mean, everything under 5 years is a startup, right? So Ethereum is actually still a startup, and they're struggling to have revenue model, right? The only revenue model they're having at the moment is they're minting new coins, and those coins are then sold for to us, and that's how they get money, right?
Speculation.
Absolutely, and you should be passionate about the price, probably not about the company, where most of them don't have a working revenue model at the moment, but they hopefully will have them in 1 or 2 years if they were successful.
Really, the only one that does have an actual product is Steam. Steam, it's done very well, you know, like as an actual usable application. Are you familiar with Steam?
Absolutely,
yeah. Like I have a bunch of buddies that make quite a bit of money, or they used to, just from blogging on Steam. And for me, my coins were like EOS. I like EOS. I like Neo. I think Ripple has a kind of a love-hate relationship in the industry, but the fact that it's really the main coin that's that's getting the most attention by banks for doing remittance payments and so on, that shows the usability for it for sure. But yeah, I've got so many other ones that I'm.
I mean, to touch down on XRP or Ripple.
Yeah.
Short explanation, right? Ripple is the company, XRP is the coin.
Yeah.
Ripple Labs company has two technologies which they are pushing to the 200 customers, which are banks, small banks, not big banks, and financial service providers. And this is XRapid, right? Which is used for this remittance payments
Yeah.
settlements, and they don't need the XRP coin. So the XRP coin, which is traded, is actually, or which was minted, was actually just an incentive for Ripple Labs to give a bank. For example, I'm Ripple Labs, your bank. I want you as a customer, use my technology. I'll be like, you know what? If you use XRapid, I give you 100 million of XRP coins.
Oh wow.
And you just go on exchanges, OTC, and you sell them. You get 100 million, and I, as Ripple Labs company, it cost me nothing.
Yeah.
And you got the 100 million from all the users like us. So XRP has a huge community, the XRP army online. If you look up, there are people just crazy about XRP.
Yeah.
It's
like sports teams. People are so
Exactly.
fanatic about their coins. It's like a sports team.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I'm super bullish on the Ripple technology.
Yeah.
Like Ripple Labs, the company, the XRapid solution they're having. I'm really grateful for them. They're showing us the usability of distributed ledger technology, because XRapid and Ripple, they don't have a blockchain. They have a distributed ledger technology. There's a little slight difference here, but that's the things we're trying to educate on our channel. Like XRP, you can make a good amount of money with it, but be clear, it has not really a use case, a little one right now.
Yeah, no, there's just so much, like
Exactly.
there's so much.
So let me ask you a question, like so what are you still looking up for crypto, or are you not, is the interest gone, or what would give
not
you
gone. So like I needed a break though. Like I was just like, it was just consuming my life, for like, and then I was doing the trading, and then I actually put together a 300-page book. Like I wrote 2 books total, 300 pages.
Wow.
So one was all about how to invest, like the setting up your ledger hardware wallet, just like how to be safe investing in crypto, kind of like a manual guide. And then the second book was more about like my coin pick. So I had like the altcoins, ICOs, and at that time too, I was actually an advisor for a company that I was doing the marketing for them. That was they actually didn't launch, because that was when all the, I guess, SEC was coming out for all ICOs, and our founders were like, we don't really want to go into this market now with this. But I was working on that project for about 6 months, doing the startups for the ICO, but we actually never pulled the trigger on it. So I was like heavily immersed in crypto.
in South Korea?
No, they were based out of San Francisco. But the founder, Tufi, which is a guy you should totally connect with, because he's like, he's heavily, he's like the keynote speaker at a lot of these conferences. So he's got a couple offices in South Korea for crypto. And so that was my involvement. And then basically a year ago, when I came back from Australia, when the market tanked, I was like, all right, I need to kind of like detox from this a little bit. And then I'm still definitely interested. I check it all the time. I'm very still plugged in.
Look at this, his phone.
But, yeah. That's how you spotted me, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's there all the time.
Yeah. As I get a call, that's pretty funny. It's Bitcoin calling.
Satoshi.
So yeah. Well, the thing is, Tufi, he was involved with Bitcoin Gold, which was before Bitcoin. So and I've asked him straight up, I'm like, do you know who Satoshi is? And he's like, I can't. He's like, do you want me to tell you the truth? Or no, what did he said something, and I'm like, he's like, if I tell you, I have to lie. So like, this guy, he's an OG. So just being in the space with all these guys was like pretty interesting, and I went to San Francisco for the Blockchain Expo, which was like 8,000 people there in October. Yeah, October 2017. So yeah, man, like I met like the founders of a lot of these companies, and the one talking about the scams. There's this one 10x. Not 10x. It was called. What was it called? Anyway, the one that had Floyd Mayweather and.
I don't know the name.
Yeah, I can't remember. But I literally met those 2 founders there, and then like a few months later, I'm seeing these articles that they're like indicted, like jail.
Yeah, that's
basically.
complete craziness though.
Yeah, so there's a lot of shadiness that goes on in the industry for sure.
I'm really interested in the big companies, like you see Icon.
They're in Korea.
They're in Korea. That's why it's super interesting for you. I met and I'm really interested in those companies, right? The ones who are still around, but they tanked 98% of their price.
Right.
And how is the company structured now? They made so much money. How are they using it? How are they implementing the technology? Or are they trying to pull back and just exit silently.
So
right?
what do you see happening? Do you think a lot of these companies are trying to exit? And
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Most of those companies, it's a real big threat is just overfunding. So if you have, imagine like if we would have a startup together and we raise suddenly, we're raising 30 million US dollar to build something which gives us revenue maybe in 2 to 3 years,
Yeah.
but then also small revenue. Like what, I mean, so many people would just say, you know what, maybe we should just do less, keep the money, and then maybe go into another startup which gives us more money.
Right.
And that's what most of those companies are doing. Substratum is the best example the last couple of days.
Which one?
Substratum.
Okay.
They got huge push in 2017, and now they that's the funniest thing. They announced a couple of weeks ago, we are running out of funding. We are starting trading now. Like, that's ridiculous.
That's not a good sign.
Yeah.
Well, the latest thing you probably heard of was Quadriga,
Yeah.
the big Canadian exchange.
Yeah,
That's just
right.
like so basically this was the exchange that I bought my first crypto on because I'm from Canada, and
That's so funny.
I was so paranoid because luckily I researched and I'm like never keep my coins on an exchange because an exchange holds your private keys. If they go under or they get hacked, then all your crypto is gone. And what happened with this situation was the CEO allegedly died. Apparently there's like people that don't believe that actually happened. And they're saying that he was the only one that had the private keys, which was like the password to get access to like literally $120 million, I think it was, $120 million worth of crypto, and basically is now bankrupt. And this was like the biggest exchange in Canada that poof overnight because one guy allegedly died, and there's all these conspiracy theories now, people saying that he's not dead, that they're just trying to exit scam basically. So
I mean, it's easily to check because it's a blockchain. So
you can see, yeah,
you can see
if it
funds
moves,
were
yeah.
moved, and apparently funds were moved after he died.
Oh, is that what it was?
That's what.
Oh, I never heard that.
And that's what the latest information is. So
oh wow.
that's why that's why it's just so good shady. He's 30 years old. He was 30 years old 10 days before he went to India, where he apparently died of morbus Crohn disease, which is an autoimmune disease where it's not that common to die from.
Yeah.
And then also if you have morbus Crohn, then you go to India without medication. That's all really shady.
Yeah.
And then he 10 days before he went to India, he made a last wish where he gave all his real estate, his yacht, his houses to his wife, and even 100K for his 2 dogs. But he didn't give anybody the private keys for his exchange, and his laptop is that hard encrypted that hackers can't access it. So it's all so shady that it's just normal to be an exit scam here. And this guy probably just exited, and he will come back up or probably he will show up in Bali, and we will meet him right here. Could also be. But this is crypto. Like you have to be so careful, and that's why we are passionate about educating people.
Yeah.
About all the shady things. Like our channel is called BIG Crypto, and we just focus on the big stuff, trying to screen all the non-important things for you guys. So we just prepare everything, give you the big important things.
Yeah, no, that's huge. That's huge because there's just so many scams. Like look at BitConnect. That was like the 9th market cap coin, right? Like
it's a $1.7 billion scam.
$1.7 billion. Just gone overnight. They just closed the doors and
absolutely. They started a new ICO. They closed the doors and then they said, "Oh, but we're gonna do a new one. Don't worry." And people threw money in it. It was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But I think to wrap this up, let's talk about what I'm passionate about: psychology about the market and where we see the market going.
Yeah. So where do you think it's gonna happen? Where's it going?
I think like we are at the end of the downwards turn. So people are. In technical analysis terms, we are almost at the end of the bear market. We are hopefully soon entering consolidation phase, which takes another 6 to 9 months, and then we can start a new bull market. But on the that's the TA perspective. The psychological perspective, which I like, is just people need to forget what happened.
Yeah, right.
They need to forget all the craziness, the money they lost. They need to heal internally, and then they can start be excited again about crypto, and at that moment hopefully technologies like Lightning Network are ready, and our layer 2 solution state channels are ready, and where people can see finally, oh, the technology went further, everything which was promised in 2017, things are finally here.
Yeah.
And this was not a joke. I was actually right going into it in 2017. I was just not smart enough. And now I am smart enough. I have the experience. I lost money, but I know I can make money here again. Then they will put money back in again. So I feel we will have a really boring year in 2019. A lot of interesting things will happen. Like JP Morgan is entering blockchain. They announced their own coin, which is amazing, but nobody cares. And at the end of 2019, we can start getting ridiculous about it again. But it won't be a bull run like in 2017. I think there was a one-time event, like the .com bubble in 1999. But crypto is still the best performing, or Bitcoin is still the best performing asset in the last 10 years, and it will stay like this.
Right.
Definitely.
So how high do you think Bitcoin will go?
It all goes in cycles.
Yeah.
So I think the next cycle, people predict it to go to 30K. So that's the next cycle. And after this, because before we reach 20,000, we will correct further down. When we finally breach 20K, we will have a little frenzy until 30K, and then we'll correct again.
Yeah.
So I feel like it all goes in phases, and if nobody can predict where Bitcoin will go. It can go to 50K, 100K, or $500,000.
And it moves fast. It can move fast, up or down. It can move fast. Last question: are you mostly holding Bitcoin or alts, or what's your portfolio look like?
Mostly Bitcoin, because if you understand what decentralization is, and if you understand startup investing is a really, really risky business, and you have to trust the CEO of a company, then you realize most coins are startups, have a CEO, and it's just risky business investing in them, especially holding. If you want to invest and hold in a coin, it's Bitcoin, and then after Bitcoin just is hardly anything there. If you want to hold XRP, then you really have to trust the company and believe in the company, and that's it.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks so much for taking the time and sharing your expertise. Guys, check him out on Instagram, YouTube, and his social media. We'll have the links below here. So 2019, we're in February here. We'll see where it goes, and to the moon.
December 2019, definitely point in time for crypto to watch out for. I think that's where we're gonna have smiles again, and we're gonna remember those bad times just as distinct memory. Thank you so much.
It's a roller coaster. See you guys on the next one. Cheers.